Well, we're going to start this over. I apologize for the interruption. So we are looking at today in 8th grade math, solving equations using the distributive property. So let me take it from the top again. To use the distributive property, remember I need to take this term outside the parentheses and multiply it by each term inside the parentheses. So I'm going to start by doing 4 times 8, which is 32. And I have a minus sign, and I'm doing 4 times c, which is 4c. On the right-hand side of my equation, I don't have any distributive property, but I do have some simplifying I can do. I notice that I have some like terms. 8c minus 6c is 2c, and then this plus 16 is my only constant, so it won't combine with anything else. But now I have an equation with variables on both sides. So I'm going to use yesterday's lesson to help me get all of my variables on one side and all of my constants on the other. So to do that, I'm going to use inverse operations, and I'm going to start by getting all of my c terms together. So I'm going to add 4c to both sides. On the left side, I'm left with 32 because minus 4c and positive 4c cancel. And on the right side, 2c plus 4c is 6c, plus I still have 16. So now I'm going to get my constants together. Since my c terms are on the right side, I'm going to move my constants to the left, and I'm going to use inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. On the left side, 32 minus 16 equals 16. And on the right, a positive 16 and a negative 16 cancel, so all I'm left with is 6c. So now to get the c by itself, I need to get rid of the times 6. So the opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6, and I have to do that on both sides. So I end up with 16/6 equals c. However, I could simplify this and or make it a mixed number. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know that 16 divided by 6 will help me turn this into a mixed number. So 6 will go into 16 twice. 6 times 2 is 12. 16 minus 12 is 4. So this would really be 2 and 4/6, which I can further reduce. I know that 2 and 4/6 is the same as 2 and 2/3. Let's let you try this one this time. So copy down on your notebook paper, 3e minus 8 equals 2 times parentheses e minus 4. And go ahead and use distributive property to simplify, and then let's solve. So pause the video, work the problem, then check your work. So to check your work, we're going to start with 2 times e, and then we're going to do 2 times 4. So 2 times e is 2e minus 2 times 4, which is 8. On the left-hand side of my equation, I don't have anything to simplify, so it stays the same. Now I have an equation with variables on both sides, so I'm going to use inverse operations to get all of my variables together. So I'm going to subtract 2e from both sides, because now that gets rid of my variables on the right side, and all I'm left with is the minus 8. On the left-hand side, 3e minus 2e is 1e, which I will just call e, and I still have the minus 8. So now to get e all by itself, I need to get rid of minus 8. The opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8, so I will do that to both sides. On the left, all I'm left with is e, and on the right, negative 8 plus 8 equals 0. If you got e equals 0, super job. Let's take a look at how we can simplify or eliminate fractions in a complex problem. So if we want to solve an equation with fractions, we can eliminate the fraction from the problem by multiplying each side of the equation by the denominator of the fraction. So when I look at the equation, 12 equals 3/4 n plus 5, I know that the denominator is what I need to get rid of, which is a 4. So I'm going to multiply the whole equation by 4. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on the left-hand side, 4 times 12 is 48. But on the right-hand side, I'm going to have to distribute. So first I'm going to do 3/4 times 4. So I know that 3/4 times 4 would be the same as 4 over 1. And writing it like that helps me see that my 4's will cross cancel. So 3/4 times 4 is really 3. So when I distribute the 4 times 3/4 n, that simplifies to 3n. And now I'm going to take the 4 and multiply it by the 5. So I have plus 4 times 5, which is 20. Now I have a two-step equation to solve. If I want to solve and get n by itself, I will start by undoing this addition. 48 minus 20 is 28. And I'm left with 3n on the right side. So now to undo that multiplication, I will divide. So I find that n equals 28/3. But if I want to simplify this, I could make it a mixed number by taking 28 divided by 3. Well, I know that 9 times 3 is 27. 28 minus 27 is 1, so that gives me 1 left over. So this would be 9 1/3. I think you guys are getting it. Let's take a look at the work of two different students here. And let's see if we can find the correct process and the error that was made. So let's start with student A. Here's our original equation, -20 equals x over 2 plus 7. So this student A started by subtracting 7 from both sides, which would be fine because we want to undo the plus 7 first. So on the left, when we subtract 7 from both sides, -20 minus 7 gives us -27. And on the right-hand side, +7 and -7 cancel to 0. So all we're left with is the x over 2. Now to undo the divided by 2, we are multiplying this equation by 2. On the right-hand side, the 2's cancel to x, and on the left-hand side, 2 times -27 is -54. So student A looks to have done a good job. Let's check out the different method that student B tried. Student B is trying to multiply by the denominator like we just did on the previous problem. So we're starting with the same equation here. -20 equals x over 2 plus 7. So in the second step, this student is trying to multiply by that denominator to cancel it. So we have to multiply both sides by 2. So 2 times -20 is -40. And we have to distribute the 2 through this side. So 2 times x over 2 does cancel just to x, but it looks like the student forgot to distribute here. We have to also do 2 times 7, so that should be not +7, but it should be +14. So be sure, if you are using that shortcut method to get rid of a fraction, that you use that distributive property to help you get to the correct answer. So from here, we would have had a +14, so we would need to subtract 14 from both sides, not merely subtract 7. Let's check out a word problem here.